All right. So welcome everyone. I guess I am so excited about doing this. If you saw the path that I had to take to get into this, it was unbelievable. And so I'm really excited about it. It took me uh, years to get to where I'm at right now, and with a lot of help from a lot of friends. And so I really want to appreciate all of you people that have supported me, those in the recording and those are listening today. So with that, we're going to be talking about how to be and stay happy. Um, oops, I'm still trying to figure out the system on here. Sorry about that. Uh, but we're gonna talk about what we're gonna be learning today, and we're gonna have three simple techniques. So this is just not gonna be me with a talking head. I'm gonna actually teach you three different techniques that you can use to help yourself release some of the things that you've done. What we're also going to be doing is answering the question, what keeps us from full happiness? There's a lot of things that happen in my life, and I've got to be able to discover why I myself couldn't be happy no matter what happened. And also derailed. We're going to talk about what gets us derailed. And then the most important thing, in my opinion, is how we can celebrate the holiday and enjoy it. Okay, first of all, my name is Roger House. For those that don't know me, I've lived the American dream. I call it a world ago. And with that, I used to be in the Marine Corps. I joined the Marines at 17, and I loved to fight. When I was a kid, the only thing I can remember about being a kid was fighting. And so when I joined the Marine Corps, I was in my heaven. And I was in such a great heaven that I became a sergeant in less than 2 years. That's pretty amazing because most people don't become sergeants until anywhere from 5 to 6 years into it. So I got married while I was in the Marine Corps, had two kids, and I owned four different homes. My last one was a three-story, three-bath with a swimming pool. And I had, as you can see, six brand new cars and then 12 company cars. So I really had, I mean, pretty much everything. I had the job, I had the kids, I had the wife, I had the income, and everything seemed like it was perfect. But there was always something going on with me. I never could seem to be happy. It always seemed like it was something out there. It was something that I myself couldn't obtain. And as I kind of alluded to, as a kid, I couldn't remember what was going on. And so I'm going to get into that a little bit because it's the reason why I do the work I do right now. So my trauma got triggered at 9/11. I don't know if you guys can remember your 9/11, but I can remember sitting in the office at work. We had a couple of people in the air over in the Boston area, and so we didn't know if he was part of the flights that were being nabbed or not. But so, the trigger started with all my friends, or some of my friends being threatened. But I went from a beautiful home, that a three-story, three-bath home. I went to, if you look over the other side there, that's what I lived in. I came to Colorado thinking I could change my world, thinking I could make myself happy, and I ended up sleeping in that. And I did that until one day it was 10 below zero, and I was still sleeping in my car, and I just couldn't handle that anymore. So I ended up couch surfing. The other thing that happened is my family life changed. I had a pretty okay family. I mean, for me, it was fantastic because I didn't know what happiness really was, and now I'm kind of in a strained relationship. I live here in Colorado, and the rest of my family lives in Minnesota, and I haven't talked to them in a couple of years at least now. And I'm working on that to bring that into flourish, and so that my my family and I can be something fantastic with each other. But I was here in Colorado, sleeping in my car, couch surfing, and my new career. That's why I say this is so exciting for me to be here today, because I was just wrapped up in that fear. And there's my office. If you notice there, there's the emblem that I have on there. I was I was known as Empowered Creations for many, many years. But what I used to do is with Empowered Creations was I worked with body work. I did a lot of things with Reiki and quantum touch, and so I kind of hung my hat on being able to help people with physical ailments. But it never seemed like enough. So I ended up with life decisions. If you notice on my life decisions, there's the, should I hang myself? Should I shoot myself? Should I just die of a heart attack? Can I be angry? Am I going to live in doubt the rest of my life? And there was a little bit of remnants of the serenity. There was a little remnant of maybe this isn't all there is to life. But I didn't even think about any of that kind of stuff. I just looked at how I was a victim. Until one day, someone else made the choice for me. It was my last straw. You see that little dent in the car there? That was my last straw. Now, I've lost my family, I lost my job, I lost my income, I'm sleeping in my car, and the only thing that makes me want to change is a little dent in the car. I thought that was a little strange. So I had to investigate what the heck was going on in my world. I was so confused, and one day let me tell you the story about this, because I think it's a pretty important story about how I started doing the trauma resolution. Well, I was headed over to do some body work for a friend of mine, and on the way there, I was sitting at a stoplight with a big pickup truck in front of me. And all of a sudden, he starts rolling backwards. And he rolled back about 12 feet, because I was about 12 feet behind him, and he rammed into my car. And at this point, I just said, that's it. I give up. I'm done. I'm sitting here struggling, wondering where my next meal's coming from. How am I going to pay for gas? You know, just everything was coming in on me. And it just happened to be a man with his son that didn't speak English, and so his son had to translate for me. And so the guy basically asked me, what is it going to take to forget about this? And I just said, oh, hell with it. Give me $50 and we'll be okay. And so he opens up his wallet, and here's hundreds all over the place inside. I mean, that thing was thick. And he kind of pulls out 2 20s and a 5, two 20s and a 10, and hands it to me. And I'm just totally pissed off. I'm totally depressed. And I walk into the meeting where I was supposed to work with my friend, and I just said, I give up. I'm done. I can't seem to make anything work. Nothing seems to make me happy. Nothing is working in my world. And she just said to me, could I try something with you that I just learned yesterday? And if I can do something, great. If I can't, I'll support you on whatever you decide to do with your life. Well, it took her all of about 30 seconds to maybe a minute to work with me on a technique that's so powerful and that it totally changed my life. I went into the training, did some major training, got myself certified in trauma resolution, and it just seemed like that still wasn't enough. There has to be something behind that trauma that can make me feel better about myself and about my life. And all of a sudden I started realizing that there was times that I was extremely happy, and then there was times that I was totally depressed. And they never made sense to me. And so what I ended up doing was starting the study. And what I've learned is how the brain works, where it can help you with eliminating the traumas. It can help eliminate all the different things that go on in our world. Now, this is a class that I can spend days on teaching, but I just want to give you a little bit of an insight about this, of how our conscious mind is like the software of a computer. And what that does is when we download some software into a computer, it goes into our hard drive. Well, that's no different than us with our worlds. We take the conscious that comes on in our world and we download it into our what we call our hard drive, which is our emotions. And so now we move everything into our emotions, which starts becoming our hard drive, which is our unconscious. And this is where everything is driven in our world. It brings us either happiness, sadness, depression, whatever it is. It starts to happen within the within the hard drive itself. So again, I could go into more and more detail, but I don't. That's not the reason for this session today. What I want to do is what keeps us from being happy. And if a mind cannot achieve peace and quiet, it is unlikely to achieve anything else. Now, that quote was from one of my mentors, one of the people that taught me how to do the work that I do. So this brings me into our first technique for today. And this technique is what we call pure awareness. Now, one of the things with pure awareness is I kind of underestimated it when I first learned it. And so does everybody else that I teach it to. Because what happens is it's so simple to do that you don't know that you're doing anything. And what it amounts to is, if you notice, I found a picture of a man just floating there in the sky. And that's basically what I'm going to teach you what to do or how to do it, so that you yourself can go into that pure awareness. Now, the reason for that is to still the mind. If we can't have a still mind, we can't get ourselves reprogrammed. And so with this, starting this technique, what I'd like you all to do is kind of just get yourself nice and relaxed. Sit down and just put your feet on the floor and just start taking some deep breaths. And as you take these deep breaths, you're going to listen to my voice. And as you hear my voice, I want you to visualize clouds in front of you. And as my voice comes into you, I'd like you to take it and just redirect it into those clouds, so that every word that I say goes into a cloud and drifts away. Now, there might be something going on in your world where you are right now. There might be a noise. There might be something that's distracting you. I'd like you to take that distraction and put that into those clouds also and allow them to drift away. Now, as you're doing this, don't forget to breathe. Take some deep breaths and allow yourself to relax, watching everything go into those clouds. If you get what I call monkey mind, allow all the words that come into your head to go into those clouds also, so that any distractions whatsoever, internal or external, are put right into those clouds and they can drift away. So as you're breathing and relaxing, I'd like you to notice over to your left, there's some blue sky over there. And as you notice that blue sky over to your left, you notice that that blue sky is behind you also. And now you notice yourself floating in this beautiful blue sky. And anything, any kind of distractions whatsoever, go into those clouds and drift away. And as you sit there and relax, you notice how stillness comes in. Notice how you're getting calmer. And as you start to come back, I'd like you to take a deep breath in and blow it out your mouth. And take another deep breath in through your nose and blow it out. And come on back. And so what you've just experienced was what we call pure awareness. This is where you still your mind. This is the beginning of getting yourself into a happiness state. This is where you can start eliminating things that go on in your world. But we talked about derailed. I'll tell you, my life got totally derailed, and I had to sit and watch it. So if you look at derailment, it's just like a train. Once a thread is derailed, it cannot be stopped. All you can do is watch. And I watched as my life started derailing after 9/11. And I started watching how I lost my family, how I lost my job, how I lost my home. And it just one thing after another, and it piled up, and my life looked just like this picture. And now you may be derailed, but it may not be as much, or it even could be more than how it was for me. But the reason that we become there is because we have the old stories in our world. The old stories of, if this happens, that's going to happen. If we do this, that's going to happen. And so what goes on is we've got ourselves trained into believing that whatever happens is because it's how it's supposed to be. And that gets me into what I call the technique number 2, which is releasing the old stories. Now, in order to do this technique, it's very, very simple of just noticing that if you look up, you're thinking, you're using your brain, you're in your intellect. And if you put your head down where your chin is kind of resting on your neck area in the front, and you start concentrating on your stomach and your chest, what you've done is you've turned that brain switch off, and you've now turned into looking at your feelings. What I'd like you to do is just think of something very simple in your life that has been bothering you. Something that it kind of nags at you. And it might be somebody just, well, I know Nancy's on the line, and so one of the things Nancy gets a little upset with is I walk around with my bare feet all the time. And so find something like that, something simple that will help you release, or I should say that you want help in releasing. And what you're going to do is think about that. So you're going to look up and think about what that thing that's bothering you is. Now look down and notice where you're feeling it within your heart or your chest or your stomach. And now what I'd like you to do is take a straw, a big thick fat straw, and stick it into the area in your stomach or your chest that energy feels like it's at. And you know how you've seen the oil pumps where the oil starts releasing from the wells and they're not capped? Well, that's what I want you to kind of visualize, is the energy within your chest or your stomach being released from that straw. So you watch that energy just gush out of that straw. and allow more of it to go, and more, and more. Now there may be some more energy in there. Allow that to release also, and more. Now, for those of you that it doesn't seem like it's working well enough, just allow yourself to notice that there's a window in your stomach chest area. Open that window wide open and allow the rest of that energy just to leave that window. Let it fly out the window. And take a deep breath in through your nose and out your mouth. And another deep breath through your nose and out your mouth. And this is a technique that releases old stories. This is a great one to release a lot of the easy, everyday things that bother us. Where you might be cut off in the driving, or somebody might have just irritated you at your work or whatever. But this is another great technique that can help you with all that. Now, where I say the most important part for me is how to enjoy the holiday season. Joe Vitale, who's another mentor of mine, says the meaning you give to an event is the belief that actually attracted the event in the first place. So if you look at these children, was this you? Is this you right now? Do you look at the holiday right now and go, oh, good God, I got to deal with my family. Oh, my God, I got to pull my hair out because I don't know which way to go or what to do. I really like the fighting one because that reminds me of me as a child. I loved to fight, and I think I was fighting when I was that age myself. And the way that we want to look at this is to find the gratitude in everything that we do. We need to make new stories. And this technique is very interesting because you have a choice in making those new stories, or you can hold on to the old ones. You know, a lot of people come to me and say, well, I can't change the story. The story is the story. But I'm here to tell you, I've changed my story. I kind of told you a little bit about my childhood. I couldn't remember it. Well, one of the reasons I couldn't remember it is when I was, I can't even remember the age. I think I was around 12 years old. I was raped by my scoutmaster. And I kind of blinded myself until my 40s, and I didn't realize, I think it was in my 40s that I found out that I was raped. And I was using that story without knowing that it was the story. So in other words, the symptoms of the story, all the things that were going on, the losing my family and losing my job and everything else, those were all underlining issues that were created because of me holding on to a story for so many years. So I had to find those stories and I had to release them. And this is where trauma resolution comes in. But we're not talking about trauma resolution. We're talking about happiness for the holidays. So unless you've had really a bad holiday where something major happened, and if so, those are the things that you need to have a professional help you with. But if you've always fought with your brother or sister, if you've been kind of put down or whatever with your family, this is the time to start changing those stories. Changing them into something that can create a new world for yourself. One of the things that Artist does in her world is she takes Post-it notes and sticks them up on her mirror. And what she does is when she gets to the mirror, she starts reading them. Now, that's a great technique. It's definitely one that a lot of people use, but I'm going to go one step further in this technique. What I'd like to do is have you look in the mirror, look yourself in the eye, and start telling yourself new stories. Stories with gratitude. Real simple things can be major things. If you yourself just say, God, I'm so glad that I woke up this morning, and I'm able to see you when you're looking at yourself in the mirror, then you know that you're on the way to changing your stories. One of the other techniques that I like to use with this looking in the mirror is very simply that mirror is a mirror to a different world. And this world is just the exact replica of our world. The only difference between that world and this world is they're 6 months ahead of us. But that world is the exact same. So there's a you in there, there's a me in there, and they are experiencing everything you're experiencing. Only thing is they're 6 months ahead of you. What I'd like you to do is look in that mirror and look at yourself and say, okay, what is our story today? How have you improved our lives in the last 6 months? What have you done that's so much better than where I am right now? Give me the path, give me the direction of how I can make my life better so I can follow your lead. And as you look at yourself in that mirror, you speak as if you're the person looking in the mirror or looking out of the mirror. And tell yourself what it's going to take to be better in 6 months. This technique is a powerful technique. This is a technique that has changed my life drastically. This is a technique that got me here to talk about this in the first place. Now, I know I'm really rusty. I haven't done a training in at least 5-6 years. So I got ring rust, and I apologize for that. But I'm standing here. I'm still talking to you, and I'm doing what I think is a good job for a guy with ring rust. So that way, or that leads me into, as I humorously say, technique number 4. What are you going to do for your life? I'm going to suggest that you give yourself a gift to reprogram your brain for happiness. And I'm here to help you. And I can guarantee by the time we start doing these programs, the ring rust will be out of me. I'll be able to talk like I used to talk, because I used to, in my old training times, used to talk to CEOs, multimillionaires, presidents, and the whole 9 yards that way. And I did, in my opinion, a great job, and in the opinion of those people, I did a great job. But I'm not here to brag about what I used to be able to do. I'm now here to tell you that I can help you reprogram your brain. What you'll get is 6 weekly online sessions. We're going to take about 90 minutes, and they're going to be with supported material, because these are experiential and exponential. In other words, you're going to be building on what you've done in the week prior, and you're going to have material that's going to help you do that. You're not only going to do that, I'm going to sit with you for 20 minutes to find out where your issues are, where you yourself may be stuck, so that when I start doing these 6 weekly sessions, I can customize it to meet the needs that you yourself need. I have at least 4 different releasing techniques that I also want to teach to you beyond what we've done today. I also have what I call the mastermind groups, and I'll have a happiness mastermind group that you'll be able to go to the first month for free. And what will happen in those masterminds is we get together and we start building off of each other's successes. And again, like I said, it's not like today. It's not like I'm a talking head. I'm going to be able to have the lines open. I'm going to be able to have where you're going to be able to ask me questions. Because without you getting what you want, it's worthless to me even to have a program like this going on. I'm also going to record them just as I'm recording this one, and you're going to be able to get the recordings. So how much would you pay for your happiness? I've got a special deal. Because it is the holidays, you know, that's the cliche. But because of that, and because I want to wait until after the holidays to get started, for anybody that signs up before December 10th, you'll only pay $127. And after December 10th, it goes up to $197. Now, if you want to sign up, you'll see it's at empoweredcreations.com. Happiness is real. And just go there and just click on the buttons, and it'll walk you right straight through it. When are they? They're going to start January 7th. And don't worry, if you can't make 1 or 2 of them, don't worry about it, because it'll, like I said, it'll be recorded. It will start at 6 o'clock Mountain Time. It'll be 6 Wednesdays, the 7th, 14th, 21st, 28th, 4th, and I believe it's the 11th. Can't see it I have some stuff showing in my screen, or I'm sorry, whatever it is there. And you'll get a phone number and a computer link when you register. Oops. So what I will say is embrace a joy-filled new year and a new empowered you. I want to thank you all for being here today. I know it's kind of a weird time to do it at 12 noon on a Friday, but it was one of the times that I could get myself open to do this. And I appreciate every one of you. And with that, I'll say have a great day. Take care, everyone.